The evolution of anti-globalism over the years has been a reaction to what is seen as the damaging impact of globalization on local economies, cultures, and societies. This ideology is not a new phenomenon, however. Its prominence and visibility have been on the upsurge in recent times, especially with the swift escalation of globalization. Throughout this epoch, numerous communities have experienced the harsh bite of shifting economic conditions, with factories shutting down and employment opportunities moving abroad. Certain cultures have felt under threat, with the infiltration of Western consumer items and entertainment in every nook and cranny of the world, often supplanting local customs and lifestyle. A pinnacle element of its rise has been the advent of global agreements. Often these agreements are skewed in favor of large-scale, multinational corporations at the expense of small, local businesses. These corporate entities consequently wield substantial power over local economies and cultures, many times to the disadvantage of the local inhabitants. One concern that stands out is the expanding influence and supremacy of Western cultural values. This is evident in everything from the food choices people make, to the clothing they choose to wear, to the entertainment they indulge in. Such dominance often leads to a blending of cultures and a loss of distinct local identities. Anti-globalism, therefore, emerged more prominently in the late 20th century and the early parts of the 21st century, coinciding with the rise of global trade agreements, multinational corporations, and the growing dominance of Western cultural values. Now, let's delve deeper into the historical context of anti-globalism, dissect the key events that have shaped its trajectory, and discuss the major players that have influenced its development. Scene, script, voiceover. As we delve deeper into the historical context of anti-globalism, it's essential to focus on the role of global trade agreements. These agreements, designed to foster international trade by reducing barriers, have been a major factor in the rise of anti-globalism. Global trade agreements have profoundly shaped the global economy. They have facilitated the free movement of goods and services, capital, and to some extent, labor across borders. This has resulted in an interconnected global economy where countries are dependent on each other for resources, products, and markets. However, these agreements have a multifaceted impact. On one hand, they have led to economic growth, increased competition, and a wider variety of goods and services for consumers. On the other, they have often been detrimental to local businesses and economies. The intense competition from multinational corporations, coupled with their ability to exploit these agreements to their advantage, has led to job losses and factory closures in many regions. Let's take a look at some case studies. In the mid-1990s, the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, led to increased trade and economic growth in the US, Canada, and Mexico. However, it also resulted in job losses in sectors like manufacturing in the US, as companies moved operations to Mexico, where labor was cheaper. Similarly, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP, though not ratified, was criticized for potentially giving too much power to corporations and undermining local economies and regulations. Understanding these agreements, their benefits, and their drawbacks is key to understanding the rise of anti-globalism. As we move forward, it's important to consider how these agreements can be reformed to balance the needs of global economic integration with the protection and promotion of local economies and cultures. In our contemporary scenario, multinational corporations are having a profound impact on local economies and cultures. This influence is part of the wider anti-globalism trend that's manifesting itself through protectionist trade policies, nationalist political ideologies, and a strong cultural resistance against homogenization. Grounded in the discomfort surrounding the tension between the local and the global, it's a reaction to the perceived failings of global capitalism. As these multinational corporations expand their global footprint, it's becoming starkly clear that the profits aren't equally distributed. Those who feel neglected see no wealth trickling down to them, sparking a protective response for their local economies, unique identities, and the environment. This backlash primarily originates from apprehensions related to job outsourcing by multinational entities, unequal wealth allocation, erosion of cultural uniqueness, and environmental harm. I'll now take you through a deep exploration of these impacts, highlighting both the benefits and drawbacks, using real-world examples for a better understanding. The concerns of job outsourcing, income disparity, loss of cultural identity, and environmental degradation, all attributed to the global economic integration, will be our central focus. Let's delve deeper into the dominance of Western cultural values, a significant driver of anti-globalism. As globalization spreads, so does Western culture, influencing local cultures and societies worldwide. This influence is not always well received. Many perceive it as a threat to their unique cultural identities, leading to a heightened sense of nationalism and a pushback against globalization. Take fast food, for example. The spread of multinational fast food chains like McDonald's has led to a homogenization of global food cultures. This has sparked resistance in countries like Italy, where slow food movements have emerged in direct opposition to fast food culture, aiming to preserve traditional culinary practices and local food biodiversity. Another case in point is the influence of Western media. Hollywood movies and American TV shows are consumed globally, which has led to a certain westernization of global entertainment. However, there's a growing demand for locally produced content that reflects local stories and values. The rise of international media platforms like Bollywood in India and Nollywood in Nigeria is a testament to this. In essence, the dominance of Western culture is seen as a form of cultural imperialism, leading to a loss of cultural diversity and identity. This, in turn, fuels anti-globalism. Understanding the impact of Western cultural dominance is crucial to comprehending the motivations behind anti-globalism. The causes of anti-globalism include economic disparities, job displacement due to outsourcing, cultural homogenization, and the perceived loss of sovereignty to international institutions. Additionally, issues such as environmental degradation, exploitation of resources, and human rights abuses by multinational corporations contribute to the anti-globalist sentiment. The consequences of anti-globalism can include trade wars, reduced international cooperation, increased economic barriers, cultural isolationism, and a rise in nationalist and protectionist policies. It can lead to a decline in global economic growth, hinder technological advancements, and foster a climate of distrust and division among nations. The future of anti-globalism may witness a continued struggle between the forces of globalization and those advocating for protectionism and localization. With the rise of digital globalization and the increasing interconnectivity brought by technology, the debate may intensify, leading to potential shifts in global power dynamics, trade agreements, and cultural exchange. Future trends may also include a push for more sustainable and equitable forms of globalization that address the concerns of anti-globalist movements. It's crucial to recognize that while anti-globalism raises valid concerns about the negative aspects of globalization, a balance must be struck between reaping the benefits of interconnectedness and addressing the challenges it presents. Acknowledging and addressing the root causes of anti-globalism can help guide policymakers toward creating a more inclusive and sustainable global framework.